Hey there everybody, it's Amaya. This is my first what I read this week episode. I'm just going to take this moment to say go get some tea or coffee or juice, water, anything. Make yourself comfortable, get a snack, and let's just sit down together and talk about books and comics that we read this week. Now for American comics, I like waiting for the trade paperbacks to come out. I'm just too impatient for the single issues. I can't wait for the week by week or whatever. I just like reading it all at once. So I like trade paperbacks better than the single issues. I know, I guess covers. I guess I'm not a serious comic bookie. I don't know. Because I guess the covers are the things that people get the single issues for. I don't really need those, so I just wait for trade paperbacks. First off is Lady Killer. It's kind of like a 1950s, I Love Lucy kind of vibe. She's, first off, the main protagonist is a strong lady, so that's plus in my book. But she's the perfect housewife, the perfect mom, but on the side, she's some sexy cat lady, but she's undercover, and she's like a hitman. She works for a company that hires her to, she's an assassin pretty much. And so it follows her and her little adventures and trying to keep her house life and work life separate, and just all the shenanigans that happens or that entails. But it's the art style is so cool. It's god damn, how badass can one woman be? And here she is just being at home with all of her kids. And see, it's very I Love Lucy. How's your day, honey? And her eyes are this piercing shade of green. And it's almost cat-like. Everything about her is very swift and agile and just deadly in general. She's a very kick-ass lady. I like it. And I think her next adventure is in Seattle because events happen and she can't stay where she is. So I think it's Seattle, but there's not for sure a date for the next issue, and I'm kind of sad. I hope it gets another volume. But definitely gonna read this and keep up with it, and on to the next one. The next issue is Pretty Deadly Volume 1. Volume 2 is set to come out in August. I know for sure, for a fact. And I'm so excited because I really like this comic. It's fantasy, western, and another main protagonist as a woman, which is always pretty awesome to me because you don't see it very often. So this comic has a few stories going on at once. The one story is of Deathface Ginny, and she's Death's daughter, I think, and she's a Reaper, and she fights with a sword. She's so cool, and she has a gun, I think, too. And she's just going around fighting bad guys, but then she's supposed to be with her dad, and so in the underworld, I guess. And so Death keeps sending this Reaper called Alice to retrieve her, but Alice just keeps getting her butt kicked and has to get she dies, and so she just has to she regenerates back underworld, and they just keep sending her out. And it's kind of silly, but and then there's another story of the girl in the vulture cloak, and she's just traveling around with this older gentleman. I think his name is Fox, and they just travel around and they tell stories and they sing and stuff. But then now Fox is well, I'm taking you someplace, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but he just says to meet her destiny. It's just look how cool it is. That's Deathface Ginny, and she's just standing on the corpse of a dead guy, and it's no big deal. And here's Deathface Ginny and Alice, and she's always trying to compete with her because obviously she has more favor with Death than she does, and so she's always trying to prove herself. And then here she is trying to copy her by cutting into her face the same little things that Deathface Ginny has, and she's just it's just so beautiful and cool, and it's just Here's one of my favorite panels. She's like, Ginny. She's like, tell daddy I'm home. And it's just like, look at that glare. Oh my gosh. Ginny is like bae. Like, she'd probably kick my butt, but I don't care. One last one. I had to stop fangirling over Ginny, but it's just like, look at her. Look at that gun over the shoulder, like sauntering swagger. Oh my gosh. So there you go, that's Pretty Deadly. As you can tell, I really like this comic and I can't wait for volume 2 to come out. So, on to the next one. The next one is Neon Genesis Evangelion by Sadamoto Yoshiyuki. So the year is 2015. The setting is Tokyo. And there's no real explanation, but there's these alien-like things and we call them angels. And they just want to come and destroy everything. So what do? We put kids into mechas and we ask them to fight for us. So here's Shinji. He's our main character. He's kind of a sad little dude. His dad doesn't really talk to him. He's really busy with work. He's like one of these main scientist commander guys that leads like the mecha scientific division thing. And he never gets to talk to him. And his mom passed away when he was really young, and like he's just kind of he feels a lot of things, like that's why he's kind of sad all the time, and he's kind of just drifting through life. Like he keeps saying like he's not really living, and it took this kind of catastrophic event to really realize how much he's kind of just floating through life. But the thing I like about this is that he's not really the hero type. Like he's very weak and he's not very courageous. Like at first when he's sent to get into his robot, he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm afraid to die. All this stuff, yada yada yada. And it's just like that's just not the initial first hero response that like we're all typical we're used to. And so it's really interesting to see that sort of play off. But just look at that guy, he's pretty badass. I'd like to fight in a robot. Well, no, to be honest, I'd probably be like the first one to get my butt kicked when I'm in that suit. So I'd like to say I could fight angels in that mecha, but I don't think I could. Oh, and another thing, it's kind of like Pacific Rim where like the mecha is like, they're like neural connections like with the people that are inside of them. So like when the robot gets hurt, he feels the pain, and like the way he controls it is just by thinking about it. So like that's pretty cool. I really like the design of the robot. Like it's kind of creepy looking. Like it's really interesting that the aliens are called angels, and it's just like this looks very demonic and kind of evil-ish. But these are the good guys. I thought that was pretty interesting too. And this was the 3-in-1 volume edition, so I got to read 3. I can't really explain to you all 3 of the volumes, but it was just pretty much fighting. There's a lot of action, which is great, and just kind of expanding on the characters. Like there's the girl named Rei, and she's kind of like the opposite of Shinji. Like she's kind of a robotic wooden character. She smiled once in 3 volumes. Like that's the kind of girl that she is. They're hinting that maybe she just doesn't know how to express herself. Because I feel like maybe she just doesn't feel anything at all. Like that's just her character. But they make it sound like she just doesn't know how to express herself. And she's really interesting because you don't really know anything about her. Like they don't tell you any of her backstory. And she's really, she connects really strongly to Shinji's father, the commander guy. And it's like, it's really interesting because her father, Shinji's father almost likes Rei more than he likes his own kid. So it's like, I want to read more because I was like, why is this, it's a really weird dynamic. Like I want to know more. But she's a really like solid kick butt lady, and so that's always a plus in my book too. And my last book is Tokyo Ghoul by Ishida Sui. So this story follows Kaneki Ken. He is an 18-year-old freshman in college. He's kind of a bookworm. He's really reserved. Kind of just like a sweet, sensitive boy. and he meets a girl. They go on dates. They go on a bookstore date. That's pretty adorable. And then it comes out that she is what is called in this world a ghoul, which is I don't really know what they are. They're monsters that that look like people, or they disguise themselves to look like people, and they eat human flesh. And this one that he happens to have fallen in love with is called the binge eater, and because they only need to eat like one body like every 2 months or something, but she has been like gobbling them up. She just loves it. And so she's kind of lured Kaneki Ken into like what looks to be his final moments. But then all of these beams, because they're on a construction site, all of these beams just fall down and smush her. And he gets hurt too. But they're both rushed to the hospital. She's dead on arrival. And Kaneki Ken is in dire straits, and what do? They put her organs into him. And so now he's like half ghoul, half human. Here's Kaneki Ken right as he wakes up from the hospital, and it's just like boom, boom, bam! He has the one eye! This is what the ghoul's eyes look like, and it's just like bum, 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 reveal, he's half and half. Whoa. The one thing I do like about this manga is that they make a lot of references to like literary things. Like when he's going through this weird phase in his life right now, he's talking about Kafka and like all of that story Metamorphosis, and it's just like he's comparing himself to when he got turned into a cockroach, and it's just it's very allegorical, and it's like it does make sense, and it's just like it's really interesting, and I like how they can make those connections. The art in this manga is really good, and it's really gruesome, so if that's not your cup of tea, then just be warned. And it's just like, look at that, he just got it, like some guy's getting his face cut in half, and like someone like she just punched that guy and his head flew off, and it's just like, and they're gonna eat his hand now. It's just like, if that's not your thing, just be warned right now. That's the kind of story this is. And another aspect of the story that I really like is that he's kind of having to struggle with like the two halves of himself now. Like the one half, his ghoul half, really wants to eat humans, but then his human half obviously is like, that's fucking wrong, I can't do that. Like, but it's in his nature now, like he has to do it or else he'll die. But like that's the thing, like he wants to die. Like he tried to stab his kidneys out or something, but like the knife broke in half, so it's like he's kind of impenetrable now unless it's like by another ghoul. And it's just like he's in this really sad situation, and it's kind of like Shinji, where it's like he's kind of cowardly about it. Like he cries a lot, and it's like that's so relatable. Like normal people are gonna cry when stuff like this happens, and it's just like it's nice and refreshing to see like that sort of thing come out through the story, and to not have like a character that's all gung-ho like, I am gonna go eat people, like this is my life now, that's just what I gotta do. But this guy, he really struggles with it, and it's like that's the kind of character that is kind of relatable. And I know Tokyo Ghoul has been out for a while now. I think there's like 7 or 8 volumes out right now. I know I'm a little behind, but hey, catching up. So that's what I read this week. Tell me what you guys read in the comments below. Read good books, comics, manga, whatever you enjoy. And I'll see you guys again real soon. Thank you very much, and have an awesome day.